Hey, do you plan your profits? If you don't, you should. And after this video, you're going to know exactly how to do it. So we're going to title this one right here, Plan Your Profits. If you want a copy of the sheet, let me know in the comments, and I'll post the link so you can copy this. But basically, a lot of people that sell online and in print on demand, they don't do any planning at all. So they don't know, what am I going to have to spend on ads in order to make the money that I want to make for the day, the week, the month, and the year. So that's what we're going to do here. So if we go like this, let's say you have, I don't know, we'll use t-shirts as an example. So the price is like $29.99. And then there's shipping that the customer is going to pay, so you don't have to worry about that. But the base cost is typically like, I don't know, 11, 12 bucks. Say something like that. And then your profit, your ads, say it costs you like $15 to get a sale. So now your actual profit at the end of this is going to be the $29.99 minus 12 minus, and then minus 15. Minus that. There we go. Oop. Oh, crap. Figure this one out. Equals. There we go. $2.99. So, yeah, it costs a lot of money to make this, and your profit margin there is pretty slim. So if you want to figure out your kind of profit margin, you take that number divided by your revenue. You're at about 10%, which is actually pretty accurate for a t-shirt. So if you know that going in, now you have some things that you can arm yourself with. And yes, t-shirts don't make much at all. That's why you have to sell a boatload of them in order to make any kind of money. So basically this ad cost right here is your cost per purchase. So now we can do some calculations and we can say, okay, let's say we start at 1 and we increment it by, I don't know, whatever we want, 5. And then we can do shirts sold, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. So if you have 1 that you sell per day, then it's going to be that times your profit right here. And then if you do that for weekly, it's going to be that times 7, and then it's going to be that times, I don't know, 30. And then it's going to be that times 365. So 30 is like an average. So you can see if you sell 1 shirt a day, you're going to be making $1,000 a year, which is not really much at all. So we're going to go with that plus that on the increment. And we'll just put little dollar signs in here to lock it in to that one. And here, let's copy this over. And this is what you need to know, because a lot of people have very unrealistic expectations of what they can actually make. Oh, why didn't that work? A11 times B4. Oh, okay. I know what I did. Gotta tie this in. There we go. Now that'll work. Copy this. Oops. Paste. There we go. So if you sell 6 shirts every day, 17 bucks, 125 a week, 538 a month, then we can continue this out for a couple more kind of options here, just to give you an idea. And you can see that, once you're at like 50, then you're at pretty much 4,500 a month profit. If you're selling, that's 50 a day. So this is your daily number here. And to get there, if you look at it, at 50 a day, your ad cost is $15. So you can take whatever that is times your number of days, and that's how much you'll be spending on ads. So this is your profit that we're putting in here. We can also say how much do you have to spend to get that profit. So by going like this. Ad cost, and then our, actually we could do this. This right over. Do them all. So we could go your price, your base cost, your ad cost, and then your profit. And this is all profit. But you can see if the price is there, it's going to be that. So it's going to be 1, that times that. It's going to be your profit, your revenue per day. And then this is going to be that times your base cost of that. Put the little thing in there. And then this is going to be that times this, your ad costs. Right, and there you go. So now we can just copy those down. And you can see exactly what you'll be spending in order to make what you want to make every day. There you go. So, now it gets a little scarier, because if you're at 50, as an example, like you're selling 50 per day. Let's make that a little bit bigger. There we go. If you're at 50 sold per day, you're going to be spending $1,500. Your base cost is $612. Your ad costs are $765. Actually, that's your revenue. Your ad costs are $765. Your profit is $152 a day. So you're spending this. You're basically spending this much to make this much, which leads you to a profit of $1,000 a week, $4,500 a month, $5,500 a year. So you can extrapolate that out to all of these ad costs, to whatever you want to do. But it gives you a really good feel for when you're trying to plan your profit and what you're actually going to make at this game, which it is a game. It's a business too, but it really is a game, because this is where people get hung up, especially on this column, because they do not want to spend this money every day to get to this number every day. So look at this. If I want to spend, let's make these numbers a little rounder. Let's go by 10 instead. There we go, 51. There's 101. So at this point, if you want a, well, I guess 91 would be a six-figure business, just shy of it. If you want to make like $110,000 profit per year with a t-shirt business with a 10% margin, then you would need to spend basically $1,500 a day in ad costs. And if you take out your calculator, you can do that real quick and say, okay, so 1,1515 times 365. Yeah, you're spending like $552,000 a year in order to make $110,000 a year. Most people would never do this in a million years. They're too scared. They won't spend this amount of money. It's that is a big amount. Did I do that right? I believe I did. That's a very large amount, and that is scary to do, because yeah, that's right. You think, man, that would take me like 10 years to make that at my job where I'm making like 50,000 a year or something. Or if you're making 100,000 a year, that would take you 5.5 years of your salary in order to be able to afford that. But what you have to remember is you can start small and work your way up. And if you are making money, that's good. But if your margins change, if anything changes, you're probably going to be in trouble with this. So, I mean, there are ways to adjust this too, where if you are spending $12 and then say you join their premium program on like Printify and get that down to like $9, now look at how the numbers change. They change quite a bit. So now you could go down to, you're making more money because your base costs are lower. Instead of what they were at $3 per unit, your base cost drops quite a bit. But the key here is most people are at like $12 for a shirt. So t-shirts, you make a sale, you're like, oh, this is amazing. And this profit is actually before tax and before all the other fees too. So it's more like a probably 7%, 6% margin that you have. And I know a lot of guys are like, no way, I get like 20%. Yeah, before taxes and before fees, you probably do. But so let's say it's somebody who's like, oh, I can spend $10 and get a sale. Okay, well, you're first of all, you're doing amazing. And secondly, you're spending like $510 a day in ad costs to make like $407 a day, which is actually really good. Really, really good. So your sales are 51 shirts at $1,500 a day. Your base cost is 612. Your ad costs are there, and your profit is there, and then you're at 148,000 per year. Now, if you want to take this to the next level, then check this out. And there are people doing this. Like there's people doing big numbers. Let's look at 251 sales per day, or let's go to $1 million store. And let's make this more reasonable because 26% is way too big. Let's say 12. We'll go 19%, which means you would have to be selling 501 shirts per day at $29.99 with that base cost and that ad cost. That's before tax and before expenses like fees from Shopify and places like that. But if you're doing 15,000 a day and you're spending 6,000 a day, you're making 3,000 a day in profit, and your weekly profit's 21,000. Your monthly profit's 90,000. That's decent too. I think honestly this number is more reasonable on the profit side. And most stores, they will do big numbers. You'll see the screenshot on this, right? This 1529. So 1529.49 times 365. You'll see that screenshot for like $500,000, and you'll think, oh man, that they're doing amazing. They're doing so good. Or you might see this one where they're doing like $3,000 days, where it's like actually $1 million store. 3028.99 times 365. 1.1 million on this one, and the take home on that is like 220,000 before fees and taxes, of course. But you're spending a lot of money. $1,200 a day. That's a lot of money. So 1212 times 365. You're spending $442,000 basically to bring in 220,000. Not including your ad costs or anything, or your base cost. But my point is this: I want you to plan your profits. I want you to take this sheet and plug in some numbers that make sense for you and your business, because a lot of people they never do this, and then they wonder why. At the end of the day, they're like, I don't get it. I want to make a lot of money doing this, but I don't really want to spend a lot of money. Or they don't fully understand how much it really takes to hit the kind of numbers that you see in the big screenshots. When you use this little sheet to plan your profits, you'll be able to calculate it very quickly. And you could modify this too to actually put in the fees that you'll pay to like Shopify as well, and taxes too if you really wanted to. But just think about it. Like if you want $1 million store, and I still think 19 is too high. Even that's too high. Getting there. I would still say this is probably the most accurate one at about 10% profit margin. And if you want $1 million store at a 10% profit margin, I won't even go on here. Let's go to 75. You would be needing to sell like basically 976 shirts a day, spending $14,000, making $2,900. Now, I mean, that's profit. That's not what I was looking at here. Revenue-wise, that's different. But say you wanted $1 million profit, you got to have a gigantic store and a gigantic niche, spending massive amounts of money to hit that. I mean, most of us would be quite happy with anything over 6 figures, to be honest. But there's a nice number there. About 250,000 profit. You'd be doing about 226 sales a day. So, anyway, use this in order to get your mind in the right place too, because honestly, a lot of us are at lower amounts of shirts sold daily. We're not selling 226 shirts a day. We might be selling, like, lucky if we sell one. And look at if we sell one. I mean, 1 per day is good. 2 per day is better. But if you can get that up to like 5 or 10 per day even, at 10 per day, you're still not really doing that much, to be honest. So what's the solution? I mean, this example used t-shirts, but if you sell different products that have a higher margin on them, you can actually make a lot more money doing the exact same stuff that you're already doing. So don't ever just get blinders onto all the different products that are out there that you can possibly sell with print on demand. Look beyond just t-shirts. Look beyond to higher profit margin products too. So I'm not saying never sell t-shirts. They do work. People wear them. I'm wearing one right now. But what I am saying is be open to other possibilities, because look at this. If I change this price to say this, all of a sudden my numbers change dramatically. Let's say my base cost is 13. And let's say it even cost me like 20 bucks to get a sale, or maybe 25. Look at my margin on that. So I've got a higher cost product with a good base cost, but I spend 25 bucks in ads. I make $21.99 instead of like whatever that old one was. Now look at this. If I want to get to yearly like 100,000, I only need like 13 sales a day. So just use this sheet to kind of plan your profits for whatever you want to do with your store, and work it backwards. If you're on Etsy, you're gonna have to plug in a whole bunch of extra fees there too, but your ad costs are gone, except for offsite, where you have to pay like whatever ridiculous amount it is, 15 or 12%. Anyway, if you want this sheet, just let me know in the comments and I'll post a link to it. You can make a copy and then you can plan your profits. Have a good day.